Welcome back, baseball fans. We are doing the elimination of the LA Dodgers. We're going to first look at last year's stats. They got knocked out in the divisional round by the Cincinnati Reds last year, 4-0. They got knocked out in the divisional round this year by the Mets, 4-1. I want to look at last year because I think it's interesting that nice batting average, but notice the team ERA is above 4 for an LA Dodger team that notoriously has great starting pitching. And so last year's guys who are around this year, Jim Brewer is still capable in the bullpen that you saw last year, as is Mickelson. Claude Osteen had a bad year, 4.6, 481. And as far as the hitting goes, Wes Parker was brilliant, as was Willie Davis. Billy Grabarkowitz did not hit a homer last year, 256. He would have 17 on a strat card and lead his club. Only 23 homers in 45 games for the Dodgers. We just don't think that's going to cut it. And in strat. And then when you go over to, we're going to fade into this year, and look first at team ERA again. It's still over 4. They traded for Messersmith. He delivered 10-5, ERA higher than we would like, but that's all right. Claude Osteen, again, in the wrong place at the wrong time. He went 3-10. He's certainly not the best pitcher to have a losing record in this era. We talked about Gaylord Perry's struggles. We saw Bob Gibson's struggles. But Claude Osteen's got a great card, and he's 3-10 with a 4.80 ERA. And he lost both starts in the divisional round against Seaver straight up. Sutton was good, and Tommy John was not good. It's very strange to see a starting rotation of the Dodgers with nobody with an ERA below 3. Even Jim Brewer's ERA was above 3. Very strange year for the Dodger starters, compounded by an offense that drops 20 points of batting average. In 51 games, they only hit 30 homers, the same struggles. You'll notice that Grabarkowitz led the team with 8 after hitting none a year ago with the same card. Willie Davis was not quite as good as the year before. Of course, Wes Parker, not quite as good as the year before. Frankly, at 3 over 500, this team was very fortunate to win the National League West ahead of the Giants, who are in the National League Championship Series. And that's the difference, is that the Dodgers play the Giants 13 times and won. They were 8 and 5. Wait a minute, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 8 and 5 against the Giants straight up this year, and they were 500 against everybody else. So that's enough of looking at the Dodger stats. Let's take a look at the pack here of the Dodgers and see which Dodger players are going to be coming back here. Look at the 69 guys. Pull those out. And see, I mean, this is not a great period for the Dodgers generally. We'll look at that when we get into Baseball Reference. Okay, so these are your 869 guys, and yeah, there's a lot of guys you can get rid of, but pitching wise, some guys you want to keep going and renew their careers. Let's see the 12 active players who are coming back next year to the Dodgers. They have another nice mix, 7 and 5. We're getting that a lot this year, and that's what we want. 7 hitters and 5 pitchers, hopefully, to come back year to year. It makes it a lot easier looking for talent. It splits up the hitting and pitching in a nice ratio. All right, Haller can come back and catch. Wes Parker's going to give it one more try. We can push Garvey into the future a little longer. Sizemore can still play second base for the Dodgers. Doesn't have to be traded right away. Grabarkowitz can still play third. One more year with this card. It's a cool looking card. 2 defense everywhere. Nice little platoon at short between Frank Baker and Bill Russell, who can also play the outfield. Willie Davis, your center fielder. Buckner was DH last year, but you can put him in left field. That's fine. So what they're really looking for is, yeah, another outfielder. They got a lot of lefties, which is good. It's good to, you know, and lefties who can hit lefties like Buckner are really good. Even Frank Baker's not too horrible. Wes Parker's a switch hitter. So a nice, good thumper, right-handed hitting thumper to play outfielder DH would be nice. Front and back, we got the back end of the bullpen nicely here. Mickelson, Brewer. Moeller is capable enough in the long relief. Nice bullpen. So Sutton pitches on 3 days rest. He could be the ace, but the rest of the rotation we're going to evaluate because they're all 69 guys, and they'll all come back in some year. Hopefully not in the same year. And so let's take a look at those 1969 Dodger players. Okay, folks, let's see what the Dodgers do with their 69 guys. I got Baseball Reference up here. Just wanted to look at the record for this period of 69 to 72 that we've been using. And what you'll see is, well, a team with a winning record, a team that's above 500 as well. They're in that nowhere land. 85, 87, 89, 85 wins. What are you going to do with that? Not much. Fourth or second place, but you're 10 out, 14 out. You know, attendance is good. Top players are going to be Osteen, Billy Grabarkowitz, probably not good. I love the card, but if he's your best player, I don't know. They'll trade for Dick Allen 71, and of course 72, Sutton's dominant. Walter Austin is treading water here. He gets a pass, of course, as he keeps his team in it through September. They just don't have the Garveys, the Lopes, the Says, you know, the Dusty Bakers, the Bert Hootens, guys like that. They're just not here yet. They need some more punch. So let's take a look at the 869 guys for the Dodgers who are looking for more work. We're going to start with Willie Crawford, so this should be good. We brought along a pretty mediocre Willie Crawford in the season we just played for the purpose of seeing what his future is. So 22-year-old Crawford played this last year. Didn't do a whole lot, 247. He would eventually start doing much more in 73 and 74. 73 is available. And again, 74, he'll be good too. So this is what you were wanting. You wanted a big hitter, and you got it. You sacrificed one mediocre year of Willie Crawford in 69 to get his fine 1973 season. So I'm going to keep him, 10,000 tokens. I'm also in the notes going to put a 73, meaning that's the year you want to pick for Willie Crawford. All right, I don't think the rest of these hitters are worth touching, but let's take a look at them. Bubba Morton, his career's over in 69. Across town with the Anaheim Angels, California Angels. 69 was his last year, and he never had more than 200 and some at-bats. But that was a pretty cool card we just used in 69. Bubba Morton at age 37. You see, he didn't start till he was 29. He was in the minor leagues for a little bit. Fun little card for Bubba Morton, but it's time to retire that. Bubba Morton, thank you very much for a solid couple of seasons in Strat. Next up is Tommy Reynolds. Same state. Oakland A, I believe. Too many M's and Tommy there. Similar career arc as Bubba Morton from early 63. Did have 300 at-bats with this card, which is probably not good news. Doesn't have a lot to show for it, but he may qualify for waivers, which would be nice for him to see if he can pick up a role as a platoon player moving forward for a year. So let's take a look at his 1970, see if the card exists. So we're going to go to superds.tripod.com/SOM rosters. This is Gary's roster page. He's put all in PDFs, the roster sheets from Strat. And so here is the 70 roster sheet that we use, where we want to see if Tommy Reynolds is playing for the Angels in the outfield. He should, we think. Though, I don't see him here. So let's check the extra players. And he is there as an extra player. Good for Tommy. So we get one more look at him. The Dodgers are going to decline a contract and put him on waivers. He's free to look around baseball for work. All right, next up is Hawk Taylor or Bob Taylor. This card says Bob Taylor on it. I type in Bob Taylor, and I get a bunch of these guys. And oddly enough, it's not this guy, right? Not him. There's another Bob Taylor who played 100 at-bats for the Giants in 70, hit 190. I don't know if that card even exists. You got to type in Hawk Taylor. And this is the guy that we have, who started early in his career with the Braves, went to the Mets. In '69, he was a founding member of the Kansas City expansion team. That's the card we have. And so in 70, he comes back with only 62 plate appearances. He may qualify for waivers for Kansas City. Let's go take a peek at that. I'm guessing not. Kansas City Royals. Oh, and he could play catcher or outfield, so I gotta look all over the non-pitchers here for Bob Taylor. Bob/Hawk Taylor. Not there. Kansas City. Not there. And I'll just go to the nameless cards, though that's usually only reserved for guys who are in both leagues. Not there. So we have to retire old Hawk Taylor. Had a nice little run there. But it's time to go. And now we go to the vaunted pitching staff of the Dodgers. Let's take a moment here because we probably want to take a look at which year we want to get all these guys. We'll start with Claude Osteen. 57/75 for the Dodgers. Small little lefty there. Reds, Senators, then was a Dodger in 65 on that World Series team. He'll pitch through. He'll get one ring, I'm guessing. Let's look at his postseason record. I'm curious here. Postseason pitching, yeah, there it is. 65 World Series ring. Yep. 2 brilliant starts in 65 for Claude Osteen at age 25 against Twins. Congratulations. He went 7 innings in that 66 World Series game against the Orioles. That did not go very well. But in any event, let's go back to Claude's career. Let's keep it going. And let's see if we can determine a year now. So we have these 4 years to consider. He comes off at age 29, a 20-win season. That's the card we're looking at. With a 2.66 ERA and a .114 WHIP. And we have 4 years to decide which Claude Osteen we like. The further into the future, if he's awesome, would be great. Because that means you get 4 years with that card. And he is an all-star in 73 and 70 at the front and back. It's close, folks. It really is close. It's interesting and close, and he pitches on 3 days rest. It's interesting and close here. So he's versatile. You'd like to do the 73 card so that we don't have to bump him up until then, which is 4 years into the future. But we don't want to lock up our 73 guys since we know Willie Crawford is going to be one of them. We only get 2 73 guys. So he's a keeper, and we will reserve an opinion until later in the off season when the draft approaches is when we will make a decision. All right, Messersmith, but the future is still very bright for Osteen. So Messersmith came over a little early to the Dodgers. We executed that trade much sooner. As you see, we got this guy, the 2.52 ERA and .07 WHIP. This was a boon for the Dodgers to get him this early. He's still very effective in 3 more Angel years, which we could improve to. Or we could also go straight to 1973 and get that year. With a $109 whip. Now what's interesting, he has the same whip in 74 and leads all of baseball. Right there. And gets 2 Cy Young votes, second in Cy Young voting. So, again, the only year we don't want is 72, as he doesn't pitch on 3 days rest. So, he's a keeper, of course. And in my notes, I'm going to say not 72. So I remember, don't pick that year. That's not the one you want. Next up, Tommy John. We'll have a nice long arc here with the '63 to '89, 26-year career, starting with Chi Sox, or maybe somebody before then, maybe Cleveland, then the White Sox. All right, again, we got him early in the trade. Dodgers were proactive, securing these guys for a long career. You got Sutton, Messersmith, Osteen, and John blocking every single pitcher for the Dodgers for the next half dozen years. Matter of fact, Bert Hooten will be playing for the Cubs for quite a while before the Dodgers trade for him. So there's no reason to let him go or, do anything silly with him. His best year is 72. Doesn't go on the rotation, but his whip is a $113. 73. You could pick this year. $115 whip and goes on the rotation. So again, we're going to reserve judgment here. Don't want to lock myself into anything. That's the beauty of having these great pitchers on the Dodgers. There's your 4 keepers. And that's quite obvious. So Crawford is going to help this team a lot in 73. Boom, he'll be an everyday corner outfielder. That'll pretty much put Bill Russell at shortstop. And then you're going to have another devastating rotation here. You just got to pick which year you want. And our last guy is Dave Baldwin, who was a Washington Senator. And we'll give him the courtesy here. He pitches through to 73. Dodgers are hoping he has one more good year left and they can trade him. So here's the Dave Baldwin card. Now, it looks like it's over for him. He only has 35 innings in 70 and he comes back for a cup of coffee in 73. So, does he have a strat card for the 70 Milwaukee Brewers? Dave Baldwin, Milwaukee Brewers. Milwaukee Brewers, Baldwin. Don't see him there. Let's look at the extra pitchers for Milwaukee. No, they do not have Dave Baldwin. So, he only had 35 innings, not enough, particularly for a right-hander. He has to retire. So in a mere formality, the Dodgers have 4, 1, and 3. They need to get to 4, 2, and 2. So they're going to have to trade one of their retirees to a team for a waiver guy. Doesn't matter. All 4 of the players aren't going to be Dodgers anyway. But just for bookkeeping purposes, the Dodgers will have to make a move like that. So it looks good. I think it's going to be good for the Dodgers. Again, they're going to have this rotation. Get used to it, folks. Osteen, Messersmith, Sutton, and John. Much longer than they were all together for. And, they should always go to the playoffs with this starting pitching. Particularly if you still have a great back end of the bullpen with Mickelson and Brewer. But they need to get some home runs. You need to get guys who can hit 20 to 30 homers. You need to get Steve Garvey. You need to get Ron Say. You need to get Davey Lopes, Dusty Baker. You have to get those guys here. And that will knock down the San Francisco Giants, the Houston Astros, and the Padres. So that's it today, folks. Eliminating the LA Dodgers. Thanks for checking out the video. We'll see you next time.